research old films and Korda. Mr. Abu Dhabi is from Kuwait and seems to have a keen interest in what he describes as the Hollywood induction into Eastern philosophies. These so-called inductions are a form of mind control and usually result in a new identity for the inductee. Because you see, you're always given a new name because you become a new person. You become, shall I say, born again?
Extreme radio for extreme times. This is A View from Space with the Spaceman on AM 640.
A little fight? Yeah, I like that. Then you're gonna love me.
Now that's more like it, Mr. Wayne.
It's all part of the plan.
Heath Ledger as the Joker in the Batman The Dark Knight movie, released worldwide this weekend on AM 640 Toronto Radio. I'm speaking about Heath Ledger in a different role at the moment, starring alongside Damon in the Brothers Grimm, where the two brothers are occult con men. And they come face to face with the goddess in the tower that's surrounded by 12 young virgins required to imbue the goddess with everlasting life and beauty. These 12 young virgins must be sacrificed in order to invoke the goddess. In the scene, Heath Ledger climbs to the top of the tower, looks down at the 12 crypts laid out like a clock's face. What he's actually looking at is the wheel of the zodiac. The message is simple. Astrology. I tell you, there are 3 things that guide the Illuminati in their worship of Osiris through the ancient mystery Egyptian religion. They are astrology, numerology, and sacred geometry. You've heard of Fritz Springmeijer, I'm sure. A book out on Illuminati mind control. He mentioned some films in it that are fiction-based, but are used in mind control. And if you're talking about mind control, you have to talk about Frank L. Baum's The Wizard of Oz. But he also mentions the fairy tales of the Brothers Grimm, which of course are also used by the Illuminati to program their monarch slaves. Matt Damon, who of course plays the mind-controlled Jason Bourne, who is a curious cross between the Fool tarot card and the Hanging Man, which in the biblical archetype system basically is a Jesus Christ symbol, a John the Baptist type. Maybe there was a competition to see which archetype could influence the most people. I don't know. But there can be no argument about mind control elements in the Jason Bourne trilogy, or in The Wizard of Oz, or the Brothers Grimm's stories. It's all about mind control. The history behind the Wizard of Oz programming is interesting. It suggests the Wizard of Oz has had an important part in the occult world all along. One of the secrets of the mystery religions, especially the Egyptian Isis mystery religion, is the ability to use drugs and torture to create multiple personalities. You want a terrific example of that person that I've just described? Britney Spears. Everyone should know this by now. The word Oz is known to have been used by its author as an abbreviation for Osiris. That's what Oz really means. Don't let the Z fool you. It's an O-S. I-R-U-S. Monarch victims have the golden penis of Osiris placed into them. The Grimm brothers, who were Kabbalistic Jews, gathered the folk occult stories together. Their stories are full of spells, trances, drugs. Sleeping Beauty is put to sleep, and the trigger to wake her is a kiss on the lips. These are serious hints that the occult world didn't stop programming people with dissociative states and triggers when the ancient Egyptian empires fell. Instead of using modern lingo like hypnotize, they would say cast a spell. Later in Freemasonry, the rightful worshipful master would charge an initiate, meaning hypnotize. The occultist Frank Baum, a member of the Theosophical Society, was inspired by some spirit who gave him the magic key to write the Wizard of Oz book, which came out in 1900. The book, the story, is full of satanic activity and satanic thinking. The story was chosen in the late 1940s to be the basis for the Illuminati intelligence community's trauma-based total mind control programming department. As a way of enhancing the effect of the programming, monarch slaves are conditioned to place trigger items into their lives. When the movie was made, Judy Garland, who had lived a life touched by the occult's abuse, was chosen to act as Dorothy. Judy's later husband, Mickey DeVinco, was a Satanist and a chief assistant to Roy Radin, a rich Satanist who worked with the Illuminati and who controlled the Process Church covens, which had as members mass murderers Lenny Berkowitz, monarch slave Charlie Manson. There are several members of the Carr family who are also tied into both DeVinco and Rodden's Process Church and the Illuminati. With the many long-term connections between the Wizard of Oz books and the movie to the highest level of the occult world, it is not without reason that you can actually theorize that the original series of 14 Oz books had an ulterior motive behind them. Yes, there were 14 Oz books. The 14 books in the Oz series are The Wizard of Oz, The Land of Oz, Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, The Road to Oz. The 6th book was called The Emerald City of Oz. The 7th, The Patchwork Girl of Oz. 8 was Tick-Tock of Oz. The 9th book was The Scarecrow of Oz. Rinky-Tink in Oz was book number 10. Book 11 was The Lost Princess of Oz. Book 12 was The Tin Man, The Tin Man, Woodsman of Oz. The Magic of Oz was the 13th, and the 14th, the final book, was Glinda of Oz. These books are still being sold and are being read to children or are being programmed with trauma-based total mind control. The 14 books came out in different editions. The originals came out in 1900 and just shortly after that. In the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, the words were retypeset and given different pages. So when deprogramming the survivors and unraveling the victims' past, it helps the Satanic Ritual Abuse Organization to identify what decade the edition was the slave was programmed with.